Back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, viewers. We are for the rest of the hour this morning. We will be chatting with the Secretary of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development, Mr. Trevor James, as we discussed a bunch of the things that are within this space. Of course, we've been hearing a whole lot of things is coming from the minority as well as the PNM in regards to just some discrepancies or some challenges and just some allegations being made on that part. And we are going to have some answers being provided this morning. So I want to welcome, first of all, good morning and welcome to you, Mr. James. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Kandace. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Special good morning to the people of Scarborough, Mount Grace. I'm doing well.
All right, great. Now, I'll just start with just getting a little update on what's been going on with the Friendship Connector Road. We know that there's been a third injunction filed against that road. How is that case going so far?
So just some background. As you know, Friendship Road comes from Cove to Killigwin, to Studley local road, and part of it passes through the Killigwin estate. We have been in discussions with the owner of the Killigwin estate since last year. I thought the discussions were going well myself. So the action came as a surprise to me and to the people at the division. Nevertheless, we are responding. We have until April 23rd to submit our affidavit, and our lawyers are putting that together, and we feel that we are in good grounds. We have laws on our side and we have precedent on our side, and again we would have this lifted and we'll move forward. Development in Tobago continues to be a challenge in the minds of some. It should not happen unless it is being done from Trinidad or by Trinidadians, and we feel strongly that every authority afforded us under the THA Act is what we should embrace, and we'll continue to do that.
I want to ask you, because this has come up in the discussions, especially with the minority and so on, where this road is concerned. Now, they are of the opinion that this is something that should have been done by the central government because it was in the plans as part of the airport construction bill. Could you take us back as to why the administration of the THA decided to go ahead with the construction of this road on its own?
We in Tobago, Kandace, we have to understand strategy from Port of Spain, strategy from the PNM. The strategy of ministries building stuff under the fifth schedule in Tobago is a strategy that starts with the budgetary constraints. Mm-hmm. So they go to the parliament and they take a decision that they are going to only give to Tobago the lowest amount that they could, and they will build everything else they can build from Trinidad. What that does is erode the authority of the THA. Under the fifth schedule, road and infrastructure is the responsibility of the THA. And we had the UNC, Carlos John under the UNC back in the day, coming to pave roads in Tobago, and Chief Secretary Charles had to take an injunction against him. We simply, as Tobagonians, whether we are PNM Tobagonians or non-PNM Tobagonians, have to come to the place where we accept the responsibility, that's why I started in that way, Mm-hmm. All the responsibilities afforded us in the THA Act. If we are to move forward, there's simply no way that the central government should have built the airport in the first place. And to add injury to insult, you have a minister of public utilities patching roads in Tobago with the support of Tobago PNM, contrary to the law. And anyone in Tobago, in my humble opinion, who believes that you must eat your biscuit and shut your mouth, or you must bow to the central government under the areas where you have responsibility, is someone who is not being Tobagonian. Because the struggle in Tobago has been for self-determination and autonomy. Mm-hmm. key to that is taking full responsibility for all the powers afforded us under the 5th schedule.
So that's essentially why you chose to build that road.
No, we at the division under the guidance of the Executive Council came up with a strategy of which roads we will attack, and given the way the carnival was approaching, given the long-standing challenges of traffic in Crown Point, Canaan, Bonacourt, Crown Point, we felt that this road will alleviate that stress. And we wanted to make sure that we are, ensuring that Tobagonians have ease in how they move. Transportation in the economy is a big thing, and we took that responsibility on. Now, I don't know why I should be putting up a defense to build a road in Tobago. I really, if someone comes and tell me, hey, listen, the central government should build this road, my response is, central government will give the THA the money and the THA will build the road, because that is what the law says.
And have you seen those plans, though? Have you seen the plans that the central government had proposed earlier regarding, especially with the airport build and so on? Have you seen the plans for the road, and does it differ much from the road that you are constructing now?
When we came to office, I wrote NIDCO. This would be February 2022, requesting the airport designs and requesting to have a meeting with NIDCO on the airport project. And the NIDCO refused to meet with us and continues to refuse to meet. The plans for Friendship Estate has been around for years since the central government acquired it on behalf of the THA. The road itself, Pure did a design for the road, as most people know by now. We have deviated a bit from the design, but essentially this is a design for the road that was done by the Ministry of Works under Pure, which they had intended to execute. Well, so it's not essentially a new project or new design. It's in large measure a design that the government in Trinidad and the government in Tobago at the time, I believe, was collaborating on.
Tell me a little bit about how does the design differ from the previous design by the central government?
I think in their design, they wanted to take the road directly into the airport, which I think they still want to do. We feel that the people of Canaan Bonacourt, for the people of Canaan Bonacourt to benefit properly from the road, then we need to connect it to Studley local road. So we have moved to connect the road to Studley local road, and we think that will benefit the wider Tobago community. Now, if the central government, through the Ministry of Finance, who is a ministry with line authority for the airport construction, wants to collaborate with us, then of course we will build the connector road for them going into the airport.
Now, I also do know that there has been some interesting developments regarding the airport construction where there is no EMA clearance, or there doesn't seem to be the town and country clearance and so on for that construction of the airport. Is there...
Really, Kandace, you know this? Tobago updates know this? Okay.
Yes, so...
Tobago people know this?
Well, they're going to know. But, I mean, what is being done from the THA perspective regarding this issue?
No, we took a decision at the executive level not to take any action to prevent the government in Trinidad from carrying out the mandate that they have to build the airport. We understand that the approval process in Trinidad and Tobago is a long, drawn-out process, and we feel that the people who vote executive into office to take executive action, and we took a decision not to act against the airport, notwithstanding all the criticisms that we put in the public during the campaign. When we got into government, we decided, listen, we are not going to act against the airport because, we have been starved for development in Tobago, and the airport, as ill-placed as it is, will bring some level of betterment to Tobago, and therefore we took that action. Now, the issue is not really that. The issue is the hypocrisy of PNM people who know especially people who have been in office, who know that there is no town country approval, and still criticize us when we do the same thing. When we try our best to move the development agenda forward quickly, they still criticize us. When their government doing the same thing, not only in the airport project, the majority of the projects that they executed in Tobago as well. And we have Tobagonians buying into that foolishness, not understanding that as an entity, the THA must take responsibility for things in Tobago. We just must. The person or the entity that controls your approval process, controls your economy, controls the timing of your expenditure, and therefore they can in fact hamstring your economy, and that is what these actions are meant to do.
No, and in terms of that information, because that was only recently revealed to the Executive Council just about a week ago, regarding just the lack of approvals that the airport has. Now, we always knew that. But officially, right? Yeah. But when you received that information, what was the reaction of the Executive Council, especially in light of?
We can't discuss that here. But like I said, we took a decision not to take any action to stop the airport construction, and we know that it's not going to be reciprocated by the PNM. But we think that we're doing the responsible thing. Private citizens can take whatever action they wish, but as a government and government officials, we took a decision not to act in that way.
Now, do you think that there is a political force behind certain private citizens that are taking action against the THA at this point in time?
Well, no doubt, the PNM use proxies, no doubt. We see that with all the fake profiles. No doubt, that's their intent. And so, I sit back and look at Tobagonians trying to keep Tobago down for political gain, and I just say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for them because they don't understand the struggle that we have endured for years. They don't understand that at every point in our history, we have been struggling to free ourselves from this bondage and this burden, this dung pressure. What Mali say, dung pressure, man, this dung pressure from Trinidad, and they still support it. And we just hope that by our actions, by our statements, the majority of Tobago come to a clearer understanding of what our goals ought to be in Tobago and how do we prosecute them in the public.
Now, what are some of those goals?
Well, listen, we feel strongly that autonomy is the biggest goal that we can achieve. Self-determination is the biggest goal we can achieve. We've begun prosecuting it in the public in different ways. I'm sure the executive will come out with a series of actions within the next 2 years to demonstrate to the people where we want to go. But our actions are geared towards opening the minds of the Tobagonian to the fact that we can only seriously advance this Tobago state if we are autonomous. And that whole fleet of exercises will roll out, and we hope the Tobagonian buys into that because Robbie and those guys went to the parliament in 1977, 78, got a watered down act from what they submitted in 1980. Come to 1996, the same thing, and we've been at this game for too long, trying to do the same thing and trying to get the parliament to fulfill our desires in Tobago, and the parliament simply as blocked by the PNM will not do it, and we need to find another way in which to prosecute this thing.
All right, we're going to take a pause right there, but viewers, we're not done yet with Mr. James. We'll be back right after this break, so stay with us. Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, now we are continuing our conversations this morning with the Secretary of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development, and that's, of course, Mr. Trevor James. Now, we're switching gears now to what's been going on with just a regular road paving program that's happening in Tobago. I first of all have to say we are pleased that Allfield Trace is finally paved. I know a lot of users here in Tobago, and I hear some commendations coming from some of our staff because we use that road quite often. So, just give us an update on what's been happening with some of the other roads that we know that are very outstanding.
Again, Kandace, the division might be slow, but we are coming. We are hamstrung by financial resources. The development program expenditure for us this year is $51 million. The salary commitment for development as of September last year was $41 million, which gives us maybe about $10 million in material and supplies and so on. So it is a major challenge. I think we now owe Spell $10 million, and so while we may be slow, and I think there is a high expectancy in Tobago because of how we started and so on. We are coming, and we will continue to do our best with the resources that we have. But our goal is to alleviate the suffering to road users, and we continue to do that within the constraints of the financial budgetary constraints that we have. We undertook an exercise recently, for example, to try to look at rent and lease program and how we could maximize that program to our benefit. The rent and lease came into being many years ago, trying to solve the problem of government equipment going down, and the need to focus and get, bring the public into the thing by renting and leasing equipment in Tobago. Program has expanded maybe beyond what the division could afford, and so we undertook a program to see if we could streamline the thing so that the division is in fact benefiting from it, and that effort hopefully will be finished by the end of this month, and we would see a more efficient use of the system. I think though that the system was trying to solve the wrong problem. From where I sit, the problem that we face is a maintenance and upkeep problem, and so given the limited resources that we have, we have to ensure that in fact the mechanics and the management of mechanical workshop, not only at works, but if you look at Tractor Pool, and you see the graveyard over there as well, we have a severe management, junior management, middle management problem, and we have a work ethic that we need to improve as Tobagonians if we are to build this dream that we want. Too many staff members are not taking the thing from a Tobago conscious position, and so they make decisions that are not in the government's best interest. And as you know, change management and changing culture as a manager is one of the most difficult things. But we continue to get small progress, and we make small steps to go forward, and we hope that by May the rent and lease program will be reorganized properly, and we would see and we get more benefits, save some money from it as well, and we will see how we go forward. We have also gotten some money from this ministry, from the Division of Finance, which we are in the process of acquiring some new equipment, and again we are appealing to the staff to take care of the government equipment. We are appealing to the staff to maintain the government equipment because I'll give you an example. We are renting buses to move workers for the last 10-15 years at, I think it's $650 a day or something like that. every day to move development workers from wherever to the project site. Renting a bus where a vendor can go and buy a used bus. Some of the buses are used buses for $160,000, $170,000, and we as a THA can't seem to buy a bus and maintain a bus. So something about the system itself is wrong, and we're trying to make sure that you know we are in fact doing the best that we can with the resources that we have for the people of Tobago.
Now, in terms of some of the roads that are next on the list for the road paving program.
Well, I came to the public before, and I stated that 2024 is Tobago West, and we'll do our best. So we're still hoping that we can do that perpendicular piece to that comes from Hampden, that comes up to Allfields, 4 roads there. Still hoping we can do that. Mount Hay is on the list. We have a couple of retaining walls to be done before we can do the road. So we have roads in Blackrock. We have graded the road from Patience Hill coming back to Wim. We don't have the resources to fix it, but we've graded it. We've graded and roll the area going down into Roselle from Bad Hill as well. Again, we don't have the resources to do the best job that we can. So what we can do within the resources that we have, we will. When we acquire these new equipment, I think we'll see some more work being done, because the boys before us clean out all the money and left us in a mountain of debt, and so we need the THA staff to step up and stand up and work with the THA and work for the people of Tobago, and so we could benefit from the expenditure that we spend on labor that mostly idle, in my view. And we can all work together to build this island of Tobago.
Now, we know from the Tobago Met Office that this rainy season coming up, it's not going to be an easy one. It's going to be a pretty tough one. You're going to have a lot of adverse weather situations happening. I mean, what's in place? Because we saw what happened in 2022, where a lot of the roads, a lot of the road infrastructure took a hit, especially up in the north side of Tobago and so on. What is in place now to prepare for those months that are coming up? Well,
I alluded to that. One of the things that we are doing is trying to purchase new equipment before the rainy season. Those equipment should be on the ground maybe in 6 to 8 weeks, and so that would help as we prepare. We have a emergency management plan in the division where we station equipment in various parts of the island, in Palatuvere, in Castara, and so on, when the rain starts, under the rent and lease program as well. So we'll continue to do that. The riverine teams, I think, will be reinvigorated before the rain comes, to make sure that the water courses and the river verges and stuff are clear from bamboo and so on. So those things will roll out hopefully end of May. We have some dredging to do in some of the rivers, and hopefully, the one in Goldsboro and Richmond and so on. Maybe the EMA will grant us approval,
So do you need approval to dredge the river, even if it's just to prepare
According to the law, that is what is required, and they will get an instruction from Trinidad. No, you could do this or you can't do this, and we would see how it goes. But I'm being facetious there, but generally speaking, we have a plan, and we will continue to discuss with the administrator how we can bring this all together, and to make sure that we are prepared as we can be. We can't prevent landslides, and we can't prevent rain from falling, but we have a response plan that we will activate.
Are you assessing the road infrastructure at all on pointing out any of the weak points and so on that may be a threat in case of weather conditions?
Well, we've done a island-wide tour, as you know, when we came into office, and the guys at the PMO have a list of areas that they have graded. We have a matrix that we've developed, and so we can grade possible failures and so on, and we continue to use that. I don't think that we have a real list of this road might fail before this one. That's difficult to do, but there is that road at Cocaton, going up to the Still Cotton Tree there, I think. That has been a trouble spot for years, which is something we are looking at. Bad rock is an issue. We are going to for the first time, I think, in the budgetary exercise, actually write up some projects for the PSIP and the PSIP process, to see what the Ministry of Finance does and what the government does. Because as you know, we've never really had a PSIP program in Tobago, public sector investment program that is separately funded. And at the division, the technocrats have been asked to put those together. I think we're going for 5 projects to see how the government responds. And we will have a conversation in the public about the response. But yeah, I think from a divisional standpoint, we are on the right track. There are challenges. We have a severe money challenge. But we continue to do the best that we can given the resources that we have.
Okay. And in terms of, that the CAF loan, that's that facility that's been made available and so on, how far are we in terms of being able to access some of that money to deal with some of the coastal erosion issues that we are facing in Tobago?
Well, we haven't been able to access it. I think when we came into office, that was on the agenda before us. There were meetings and so on held with the Ministry of Finance, and I think it was being executed by another ministry, Ministry of Planning, I think. We put a team together. We brought in external persons as well to be on the team. We had our manager at the time at the coastal section on the team. We met with the Ministry of Planning. We met with the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Finance refused to respond. The last we did, which was late 2022, was to write them to say, just tell us what we need to submit, and we will. And they never responded. We've reached out to them. As a matter of fact, I had my advisor, the advisor to the Division of Laboratories, reach out to Minister Penelope Beckles to present a document to them formally. No response. So we understand the political strategy, and we continue to move forward. One of the things that Tobagonians have to be aware of is that the strategy has always been to starve Tobago of money so that it appears that we are dependent. That has been the strategy, and it continues to be the strategy, and we will highlight it as much as we can.
So in lieu of being able to access that loan facility through CAF, what else is in place to deal with the coastal erosion issues that are popping up in certain areas around the island?
I think we have been taking actions. We took action in Roxborough. We did a revetment there. We have a request for additional revetment in Kendall. We sent the staff there last week, we sent the staff to Kendall, Argyle, to see whether we could do a revetment there as well. Along the large areas along the Windward Coast need protection. On the Leeward Coast as well, the bay at Grange, the wall at Grange has fallen in. Just opposite Mount Irving entrance as also is falling away. Plymouth Fort is falling away. Yes. Plymouth Back Bay needs protection. The road is gone. And they continue to give us 4.03%. So we need a government in Trinidad at the very least that looks at the THA Act when it says that when considering the budget, the needs of Tobago must be considered and not the figure. And in comparison, at my last check, the Ministry of Works is receiving a budget in total of almost $3 billion. They've just, after the rains, awarded this new company that they're now investigating $280 million to road repair. Not a cent for Tobago. And so when we vote to put governments in office, We have to vote to put a government that is sympathetic to Tobago and that is willing to do the things necessary to build Tobago, because building Tobago builds Trinidad and Tobago. And I think we have to rise above this disrespectful way where somebody in Trinidad must dictate what they must do in Tobago, and we must vote for people who support the Tobago ideal. I think we've been guilty in the past of not doing that, and hopefully with the advent of the TPP that would change.
All right, well, we're going to get more into some of the things that are under your division, Mr. James, but we got to go for a break, and we'll be right back right after this. Good morning. Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are chatting this morning with the Secretary of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development, and that is Mr. Trevor James. Now, we are going on to some matters of the Studley Park Enterprises Limited spell. And of course, we know that there are some challenges being faced there. But Spell and of course Mr. James was represented. They went to Ghana a few weeks ago with a team from the Ministry of Trade and Industry as an outreach to see what deals or what partnerships they can make with Ghana. Tell me about what's been going on there and how Spell might be benefiting from agreements with Ghana.
So on that outreach, Spell was represented by the chairman and by the lead engineer. I think they were able to visit 2 or 3 quarries and get a better understanding of the equipment that is being used now and the cost of the equipment and how we can begin to position Spell. I think for Spell itself, that was a fruitful visit. It opened the eyes of the chairman and the engineer as to some of the things that we can do here and how maybe we can partnership technologically wise and equipment as well, how we can partner with countries across on the mainland, as I call it, to see how we can create the nexuses that would move Spell forward. And I think that was a fruitful trip for Spell. But Spell has problems. Spell has problems that are being caused by ministries in Trinidad and the actions that they take. Now, we have been intending to invest, to allow Spell to purchase some new equipment, but the equipment purchase has to be based on data and has to be based on a strategic plan and so on. Critical to that is our ability to operate and to export. Both the export license, the mining and blasting license, have not been forthcoming from the Ministry of Energy and the Ministry of Trade. And I raised on another media the issue of the audit of Spell in terms of royalties and taxes, that the Ministry of Energy is insisting that Spell pay to the ministry in order for them to give a blasting and a mining license. Nothing could be more preposterous than that.
Has that information come to you as yet in terms of what royalties supposedly are owed?
Of course, the figure is $4.8 million. This is our calculation from when Spell came into being in 2017 to now. Interestingly, between the period 2017 to 2021, no royalties were paid or demanded when PNM was in office. And again, it's one of the areas, if they can shut Spell down, if they can prevent another money earning opportunity in Tobago, then they can hamper the government, and therefore that's what they do. And we have people who support that foolishness. Why it is that a Ministry of Energy has to give the government in Tobago the authority to mine a piece of land in Tobago.
Now, is that royalty?
Why is that?
Is that royalty going to be paid by the THA, or is it that you are going to be fighting this?
Well, it's not about fighting. Spell doesn't have the money to pay. It's as simple as that. Spell doesn't have any money to pay. Spell is getting part of the operations is being funded by the THA with a subvention of $4 million. I think we are going to transfer $1 million to them this week, if not today, this week. And so Spell doesn't have any money to pay that. I think the chairman told me that they had written to see whether they could come with a payment plan. But all of this is unnecessary, willful actions by the government in order to prevent the THA from building out its infrastructure program.
Now, on
and if we retaliate and we say, we ain't giving the airport any material, there's a whole other set of conversation, And so I reached out to the minister in Ghana, we were there together, the Minister of Trade, and I inquired about this thing. And this lady tells me that she after she was on TV in Tobago, I think maybe on your media in Tobago, saying that she would walk along the quarry with the Minister of Works, and then she would issue the license once they have an idea of what material Trinidad needs from SPEL. And you remember that conversation?
Yes. She
told me in Ghana that she never seen or heard anything about any license. And I mean,
so then at that point it's like, then what is the conversation about taking SPEL forward? Because unless these licenses are granted, SPEL can't get to the other level where it can start producing.
We would reach out again to the Ministry of Energy and the Ministry of Trade to clarify the matter. I'm sure that the managers at SPEL have written to them again. But the critical issue for Tobago to think about is whether a minister and a ministry in Trinidad should be demanding royalties from state lands in Tobago. That's the issue.
Now,
and preventing the state. SPEL is a state company. SPEL is not SPEL is essentially a state company. And preventing and hampering the activities of a state company operating in Tobago on state lands.
Now, in that case,
let me just say this, yes. That in a context, when we had a private entity operating on an illegal quarry in Green Hill for years, without ever paying the THA a cent, without ever paying a cent of royalty. That's what Tobago had to think about.
So let me ask you with this in question, because under the THA Act, taxes, whatever taxes are paid, are supposed to stay in Tobago. Now, does royalties fall under that category of taxes?
Well, it's something for the lawyers to decide. As a layman, I would think that I don't have a full appreciation of all the laws that come into place here. But I would think that SPEL is a state company. Although registered on a Companies Act, I would think that SPEL is a state company. And I would think that a ministry in Trinidad ought not to have. As a matter of fact, the THA should be given SPEL a license themselves, in my view. You simply cannot have a Ministry of Energy granting a license and to SPEL, and having us thinking now that we have to go back and put SPEL under the THA directly, put the operations on the THA directly, in order to get away from paying a tax. It's madness. Also madness is this export license thing. You can't hinge our export license on whether Trinidad needs the material or not. You understand? This is what they're doing. In the last year, no ministry in Trinidad has ordered material from SPEL. In the last year. This is where we live. And until Tobagonians get up and understand the strategy from Port of Spain and the strategy of the PNN and vote in a way to ensure that we can move this island forward, we will be ever spiraling in this quagmire where we can go nowhere.
At this point in time, how much is SPEL able to produce? How much revenue is it generating?
Well, I don't have the figures. I'm waiting on a monthly report, but I don't have the figures. But I was there meeting with the chairman and the general manager last week, Friday. And a report should come to me this week, by this week, Friday, and we'll get a better sense of where things are. But there seem to be material on the ground. I think one of the plants was done when I was there, and they were waiting on parts and didn't have the money in the foreign exchange to buy the part and owe the supplier the parts, some money, and it's a whole financial crunch at spell because we don't have the license and we can't make the money that we could make. We have a extraordinary demand in Guyana, which we could meet if we had the export license, and we could now plan and say, listen, we can take this investment, buy a new plant, because we'll make this back in 2-3 years. And that is hinged directly on an export license. If you don't have an export license, then you can't invest to produce more. And P&M knows this. And our sisters, Shamfa and Ayana, know this. And they do nothing. I keep wondering, what is the sense of having people like that in the parliament? There's no benefit to having a P&M person in the parliament. You look at the actions of these two young ladies. They serve no purpose for Tobago, absolutely none. Why are they in the parliament? Not supporting Tobago stances, not making arguments for Tobago betterment. It makes no sense. We continue in this mad repeat of doing the same thing and hoping for a better outcome. And we need to put our foot down and say, hey, we have to stop this thing.
Now, I wanted to move away a little bit from SPEL and come into Scarborough. And of course, we're talking about the Scarborough redevelopment project, and we know the documents had been produced and is currently still out for public consultation and public comments and so on. What's been happening there? Have you gotten any, because I know it was also delivered to the Prime Minister and his team and so on. Have you gotten any feedback? Where is that now?
So we sent the feasibility study, I think, to 5 ministries and ministers, including the Prime Minister, the Minister of Works, the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Planning, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Tourism, and so on. And I think we got an acknowledgement from the Ministry of Planning, and that's about it. We've had no response. This is both sending to the minister as well as to the PSAs. We will write them again this month to see how we can collaborate, so we can get the project running when we secure the financing. As you know, we went out and we got responses. We got interest from 2 entities, and we have been in negotiations. The negotiations have stalled in some ways, but we continue to be hopeful that we would secure a partner to help us build out what we need. We've been sending staff members. I've gone myself. A couple staff members came back from Sea Trade last week, trying to get a better sense of what the ship operators want in the ports, and meeting the people and creating the nexuses that are necessary, building the networks and so on. And I think we are well placed. There's no doubt that there is a huge benefit to Tobago and to Trinidad and Tobago for this port to be built. We continue to be alarmed that we see an increase in cruise ships docking in Port of Spain. And it's as if we are now in direct competition with Port of Spain and the Port of Spain for tourists, for cruise ship arrivals. So we look at the strategies and we continue to press on,
What happens if you don't get a favorable response from the ministries?
Now we will move forward. We will find a way to move forward. There's always the need to clarify laws. And I don't think we are afraid of that. The major issue will be the Port Authority and how that act is worded. But apart from that, I think we have enough legal coverage on our side to move forward. We would prefer, of course, to collaborate. But when the Prime Minister and the ministers get instructions to how they should act, then I'm sure we'll meet. But we would write again. I will instruct my administrator to write one more time to secure a meeting so we can discuss this matter, and we'll come and report to the people.
Now, I know one of the things that you were working on was that, at least as a small part of getting that plan going, was the removal of the lines in town, the overhead lines, and putting them underground. I know that there was a pause on that project. Will that be picked up anytime soon?
Well, we paused, as you to use your word, that project. What we've done is we took the last year to develop all the road networks in and out of Scarborough. So we now have a new intended road network in and out of Scarborough, which we will bring to the people shortly. That's one of the projects we're going to put on the PSIP as well. So that was presented by the technocrats to the senior management last week at the division. They are writing that up. We will present it to the public shortly, but that is intended to alleviate all that traffic that builds up coming into Scarborough even now, and intended to take people in and out of the city, assuming that we can have 2-3 cruise ships at the port at the same time. And so we will reveal that to the people. That will in fact be the start of the construction of the city of Scarborough.
Now, what's the timeline for that?
Well, we've not even submitted to the officially, that is to the executive council as yet, but we are writing it up. It's part of our budget submission to finance. By next week, we'll have a package to go to the executive council, and again, we'll begin to hunt for money to do piece by piece by piece. That's how we live, because unless and until the cabinet buys into our development plans, we have to continue to find ways to bring private sector monies into Tobago, and we will continue to do that.
All right, and just moving ahead, what we know that there was a plan even placed on the table for Roxborough by the Assemblyman for that area. What's happening there?
Well, I haven't looked at that plan. Roxborough, as Mason Hall, are ideally placed to become urban, peri-urban centers. Again, those are ideas that have been around, that continue to be around. But it takes some planning, it takes some development, and so we look at that as we go forward, maybe into the second term. For now, our focus is on Scarborough and ensuring that access in and out of the airport in Crown Point and so on is at a level that we want it to be, and then we will move on to trying to build out Mason Hall into a sub-peri-urban type of center, and Roxborough as well, and see how we can lift the island and bring more commerce to various parts of the island.
And then in terms of Turpin Bend in Charlottesville, which continues to be a challenge, where are we in terms of fixing that problem? UDCOT did a design, I believe. UDCOT has since written to us and pulled out of all the projects barring 2 or 3. So that design is at the division. Again, it is a finance thing. We don't have the money to execute that project yet. People have come forward to me, to the division, with alternatives. I know the Prime Minister was on record of saying that he believes you could go left and go down to Charlottesville from another side. I tend to agree, but we haven't done the engineering proposal to see how feasible that is as yet. And so Turpin Bend, unfortunately, is a project for the future. We have pressing matters. That has been a project, a project that could have been done all these years. But it is a concern getting down into Charlottesville, and it's something we continue to look at. All right. And I also want to touch a little bit on the politics, because, over the past few weeks, you have been the center of attention for a lot of the, the criticisms from the PNM and so on. Just give us your take on just why you seem to be the target of late?
I can't speak for the strategy of the PNM, but I think some people feel that if they can get me out of the way, then they have a better chance at the polls. I don't see myself as any special person, but I believe that as part of the TPP team, I have a role to play, and I continue to play that role to the best of my ability. Now, politics is a kind of a nasty game, but the issues that have come up are all based in untruth. There's the issue of with some WhatsApp fake message, Integrity Commission fake letter, all orchestrated by the PNM. The PNM, I want to tell Tobagonians this, don't ever forget, the PNM's strategy has always been development of lies. We have a political leader in Tobago called Mr. Dennis, who took something from a fake PNM page and brought it to the public as though it was real. And we have news people who listen to that crap and behave as though it is also real, knowing that it's come from a fake page. We in Tobago continue to give credibility to people who don't have the decency of saying, this is me, this is what I am saying, and going through a fake page on Facebook and have supposedly legitimate media people parading it as though that is the real thing, in order to target members of the government, myself included. But I think though that the people are aware of the strategy now, and in response, people think that I have responded with these lives and to highlight certain things and so on. But we have sat back as an executive on a mountain of information, a mountain of corruption perpetuated on the people of Tobago. And the time has come. It's a bit early, but the time has come for us to respond, and I would respond.
So you have a lot more information to share.
I have a mountain of information.
All right, well, we're looking forward for that mountain of information. Yes. But, we're out of time this morning, but I just want to thank you so much, Mr. James, for being on with us and giving us an idea of what's been going on with a lot of the projects here in Tobago. Of course, like I said, it's really been the center of attention for a lot of people here. So thank you again for being on with us.
It's a pleasure always to be here, Kandace, and good morning to Tobago.
All right, great. Well, viewers, I hope you have a safe and wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow. So bye for now.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.